My boss asked me to train someone just for support. Then I found my own job posting online. When my boss first mentioned it, I didn't think much of it. We're bringing in someone to help support your workload, she said casually. You've been stretched too thin, and we want to make sure you're not overloaded. Honestly, that sounded reasonable. I had been overloaded. For the past year, I'd basically become the unofficial backbone of our department. I handled client escalations, fixed reporting issues, trained new hires, cleaned up broken processes, and still hit every deadline they threw at me. If something broke, it landed on my desk. If a client was angry, I got the call. If leadership needed a miracle, they came to me. So when she said they were hiring support, I almost felt relieved. Finally, someone to split the chaos with. A week later, Tyler started. He looked exactly like the kind of person corporate loves. Confident handshake, perfect smile, eager energy. This is Tyler, my boss said. He'll be shadowing you for a bit. Just get him familiar with your systems. Shadowing, support, those were the words she used. Nothing about replacement. So I welcomed him. I walked him through our software, client dashboards, escalation channels, internal trackers, vendor relationships, everything. And to be fair, Tyler learned fast. Very fast. He asked smart questions, took notes, and repeated things back clearly. Still, something felt off. Not rude, not arrogant, just too polished. Like he wasn't here to learn the job. He was here to step into it. But I ignored that feeling. Because I wanted to believe what I'd been told. That he was support. That I was finally getting help. For the first 2 weeks, that illusion held. Then the small things started. Tyler got invited to meetings I wasn't included in. My boss started asking me to document my workflows more clearly. She wanted detailed process maps, client handoff notes, and step-by-step guides for tasks I'd been doing instinctively for years. When I asked why, she smiled and said, "We're just trying to create better redundancy." Redundancy. That word should have hit me harder than it did. Because in corporate language, redundancy usually means replaceability. Still, I kept going. I made the guides. I showed Tyler everything. The shortcuts. The hidden fixes. The things nobody writes down because they only exist in the head of the person, holding everything together. Basically, I handed over the map to my entire job. And the whole time, I told myself I was being a team player. Then one night, I made the mistake that exposed everything. It was around 11 p.m. I was half watching TV, half scrolling on my phone. Out of habit, I opened LinkedIn, and there it was. A job posting. Same company. Same department. Same responsibilities. Same software requirements. Same client portfolio. My exact role. I clicked it. Read it once. Then again, my chest tightened. Because there it was in plain English. Seeking experienced operations. Specialist to take ownership of key client workflows. Escalation handling, reporting accuracy, and cross-functional process support. That was me. That was my job description almost word for word. Posted 3 days earlier. While I was still employed. While I was still training Tyler. While my boss was still telling me he was just support. The next morning, I walked into work like nothing was wrong. My boss asked me to keep training him, and I said yes. But I changed how I worked. I stopped quietly fixing everything. The crack showed almost immediately. Reports went out wrong. Client issues escalated. Tyler looked overwhelmed. Then one evening, he came to my desk and asked quietly, "Did they hire me to replace you?" I told him the truth. "Yeah," I said. "I think they did." The next morning, HR called me in. I interrupted before they could start. I saw the job posting. Silence. Then came the offer. More money, a better title, a new role. But once someone shows you they were willing to replace you quietly, you can't trust them the same way again. So I said no. I gave notice that afternoon.